make time to be with the ones that you love.
After Wall Street, I went on the fire department, you know. And actually, I was 4 minutes late getting on the fire department. We showed up, John McCain and I were running across the parking lot, somebody else, move it, and I hold your horses. It was the chief in charge. So the next 13 weeks, that was hell. We all lined up according to height. I was number one in the class. That's all I heard for 13 weeks. Chief Casillas would like you to report to his office, number one. But once we got out in the field, I was in 107 out in East New York. I was there about 3 weeks. No fires, some water leaks, a few other things. And one day we go out and there's big.
Hold on a second. People moving in. This is what happens in Florida.
They go to trucks. We're right on the main thoroughfare here. So, I was saying that it was about 3 weeks into it. I had a captain that wasn't the greatest. I found that out. But we pull up at this Queen Anne building, a big private building, 3.5 stories high, flames shooting out of the top floor. I figured we're going in. The captain starts running around the building. After the second time I'm running around, I said, heck what, I got the can and the hook. And in I went, you know. And so there just recently was a picture in Facebook of a fireman hanging out a window. I said, that's what I was like at my first fire. Smoke got so bad, I went over, I was hanging out a window. And somebody tapped my rear end and said, hey kid, you want a beer? And so I said, unbelievable. But that was my first real fire, my real tough job. Chris wanted to mention a fire I had when I was a lieutenant. So now I had a number of years on the job. There was a Patchogue oil fire down in Red Hook. It was several big oil containers blew up on a Sunday night. Fire lasted 3 days. This is Monday afternoon. We're still trying to put the fire out. Chief told us to take a break about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We had the break. I told my men, stay here. I'm going back up on top. The tanks were about 40 feet tall. I get up, and I'm walking over to the chief, and then boom! The tank we were on blew up. The next thing I know, I'm on a sloping roof. It was on like a pitched roof, and I'm sliding down. Fortunately, there were all kinds of piping on top of it, and I grabbed the piping, and then I just started to crawl up to try to get to the other tank to get off. I saw a body lying off to my right with a turnout coat on. I thought it was a fireman, but it was a Patchogue oil employee. When I got over, he was moaning and groaning. I found out later he had a broken leg, but I dragged him. We get to the edge of the tank. The tank is 2 to 3 feet taller than the tank next door, and about 3 feet between them. So I just took him and I shoved him, and he made it over. I jumped over, and all hell broke loose. The men were coming up. They carried us off. And everybody, the chief, he had jumped onto a tower ladder that was right next to the tank. He witnessed the whole thing, and he explained it to the deputy and everything. So everybody was making me out as a big hero and everything. I got interviewed by Gloria Rojas, I think it was Channel 2. And she said, what was it like? And I said, I can only tell you, this is what my mother always told me. It's the only thing that got me through. I kept saying Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. And it got me off. The 3 of them got me off the top of that tank.
What about your next fire? That you didn't want to, right?
So then after that, you're a hero. I go back the next day. I'm a big hero. We spent all day long picking up frozen Super Papa hose. After doing it for 3 hours, I went over to the chief and I said, I'm taking my men the F out of here. Bullshit, get some other companies to come in and pick up this stupid hose. But I was running scared for about 2 to 3 weeks after that. I had a